Hey, I'm Mateo. This is your guide on how to set up channels for your recent Silo or KC television. Now, before we get started, we have to make sure that first off, our TV is plugged in and ready to go, turned on. You also want to make sure you have an antenna. Now, I have this small little one right here. You might have one that goes out of the wall, a big dish. Doesn't matter as long as it receives signal. Now, first things first is once we have our TV on, we're going to go ahead and make sure our antenna is screwed in to the back of the TV. You can do this right here simply by grabbing the coaxial cable and screwing it into this one right on the back. It's going to be the big screw. It's the only one that screws on. We're going to go ahead and screw that all the way on until it's nice and tight. Now you'll see I already have channels on my television. If you don't have channels, that's fine. Now all you have to do is first off, you're going to go ahead and navigate with your remote. You're going to go ahead and press input and make sure you are on the TV input. Now this one right here, there's many different options. It's always going to be on the top and it should always say TV. So go ahead, once you have that highlighted with input, you're going to go ahead and use the arrow keys to go to TV and press OK. Now once you have it highlighted, it should either say please run channel auto scan or no signal. Now if that's the case, we can go ahead and click on menu. Now when you click on menu, you'll be able to navigate to channel. All you have to do is press left one time and you'll be able to go to channel. Now you'll have a couple different options, but the only ones you're concerned with currently are air/cable and auto scan. Those two are going to go ahead and determine how you get your channels. So if you're using an antenna like me, go ahead and select air/cable. Again, you go to there using your arrow keys. Go to air/cable and make sure on the right side that it says air. If it says cable, you have to be using a cable box such as DirecTV or Dish or one of these other companies, Cox Cable, whatever. If you're using an antenna, however, you're going to make sure air is selected. If air is selected, go ahead and go down and click OK on auto scan. It's going to ask you if you're sure. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. Now this little menu will pop up and it's going to slowly scan through the airwaves and figure out which channels it can get in your area. Now for me, it might be a different amount of channels than you depending on where you're located. So you'll see we have analog, digital, and RF channels. It's going to go through all the RF channels and pick up analog or digital channels along the way. Now this might take a few minutes, so we're going to go ahead and leave it there. But once this is completed, you should have a total of around 50 channels, give or take a few. Now we're going to go ahead and wait for this to go through, and you'll start to see that as time goes on, it's going to keep going, but you will eventually get channels. So go ahead, let's give us a second and see what we can do. So we have now reached the end of our auto scan, and we went ahead got 45 channels. Now after that auto scan, if you have connected everything correctly, you should be getting channels. Now it says no signal right here. Let's make sure it's plugged in. So our connection wasn't plugged in all the way. You needed to make sure that is screwed in all the way. And now we have channels. Now we don't have the best reception in here, but you can go ahead and go through, by clicking on the channel button, you can go through all the channels you get over the air, and you'll have access to tons of different stuff. So again, this is your tutorial guide. If you, I should also make a note, if you are using a cable box, you would be doing this exact same method with only one minor change. When you are navigating and trying to run the auto scan, instead of selecting air/cable, you would be selecting cable. Just to make sure that it knows that you're using a cable box. Then once you run the auto scan, which should take about 5 minutes, give or take a few, you'll go ahead and get channels. But if you are using an antenna like me, you'll make sure air is selected. So again, that was your guide on how to set up channels. Go ahead, please leave comments in the description if you have any other issues, any other questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. Have a good day.